Agency employees may be asked to travel to accomplish official business on the agency's behalf. The agency's travel policies set forth guidance as to what expenses are reimbursable. It is imperative that you have a good working knowledge of the agency travel policies prior to making your travel reservations. Employees are encouraged to consult the Collective Bargaining Agreement, Article 14, or the Non-Bargaining Unit Travel Manual as applicable for further details on the agency's travel policies.
So there are two ways the travel expenses can be funded. If you have an agency-issued travel card, you can pay for all of your travel expenses using that travel card. If you don't have an agency-issued travel card, you can actually apply for a travel advance to fund your travel. And both the travel advance application and the travel card application can be found on NCUA Central's OCFO travel site. Reservations for business travel can be made a number of ways. You can reach out to one of the reservationists using the agency's travel management center. You can also go online to the agency's e-travel system to book your reservations online, or you can call the airline, hotel, or rental car agencies directly to make your reservations. You can book them online through our e-travel system. You can reach out to one of the reservationists using the agency's travel management center, or you can contact the airline directly. It is important, however, that when you're contacting the airline that you contact the contract carrier. All employees are required to use the contract carrier and make certain that they are getting the city airfare for all government flights.
Employees are required to use the U.S. General Services Administration, or GSA, Airline City Pair Program, contract carrier, and related least expensive unrestricted fare on official agency travel unless a specific exception applies.
Rental cars may be approved in advance by your supervisor, and typically it's when transportation to and from the work site isn't readily available. You're certainly authorized to rent from any major rental car agency. However, you are required to get a government rental. You're only able to get a government rental if you're using the agency-issued travel card. Outside of the agency-issued travel card, you may not rent a vehicle. The government rental actually comes with your standard insurances, so you don't have to opt for the additional insurance. It comes with your basic collision coverage, unlimited miles, and things of that nature, but that's only if you are traveling in the 48 contiguous states. If you're lucky enough to travel to Hawaii or Alaska or outside of the lower 48, you will have to opt for that additional insurance, and that insurance will be reimbursable under the policy. You can make your hotel reservations a number of ways. You can use the agency's e-travel system to book your hotel online. You can contact the agency's travel management center and speak directly with the reservationist, or you can reach out to the hotel of your choice and make a reservation directly with the hotel. You are required, however, to make certain that you are procuring a lodging rate that is at or below the maximum per diem for the temporary duty station that you're traveling to.
For more information on reimbursable travel expenses, refer to Article 14 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement or the Non-Bargaining Unit Travel Manual as applicable to your situation. Employees will be reimbursed for eligible travel expenses incurred in connection with official business travel. Once you are in travel status, there may be additional expenses you may incur that are eligible for reimbursement. It is important that you know in advance what expenses are reimbursable so that you don't incur ineligible travel expenses.
So to claim reimbursement for your travel expenses, you would complete an expense report using the agency's e-travel system. Submit that expense report electronically to your supervisor. Your supervisor would review that report, and if corrections are needed, your supervisor would send that report back to you for those needed corrections. Once the corrections are made, or if no corrections are needed at all, the supervisor would review, approve, and forward your expense report for payment. Yes, and in some instances, it may be most cost-effective to use your personal vehicle. Reimbursement for using your personal vehicle will be based upon the mileage that you incur, and that mileage rate will be based upon IRS guidelines. Yes, employees are eligible for reimbursement up to the maximum per diem rate for that location. There are some instances, however, where the lodging rate may exceed the established per diem rate, and that could be permissible with advanced supervisory approval. We do ask that employees travel with the exemption certificate so that the hotel tax can be waived. There are instances, however, where the hotel may not actually honor the exemption certificate. In those scenarios, it's okay for you to incur the tax. You will be reimbursed for the tax if you claim it on your expense report. The Lodging Night Bonus Program is a really neat incentive. Employees can earn $50 per night of each eligible travel night, starting with the 61st eligible travel night. So if they're on the road for 61 nights, on that 61st night, they can start to earn $50 per night. So just like lodging, there are established per diem rates for meals and incidental expenses. Employees are eligible to receive 75% of the established per diem rate on the first and last day of travel, and whole days are eligible for 100% of the established per diem rate. Employees should consult the GSA's website to figure out what the per diem rate is for the location that they're traveling to. So laundry expenses are reimbursable up to $10 for each consecutive 5-night period. The National Archives and Records Administration requires that employees retain their receipts, their original receipts, for 6 years and 3 months. Given that requirement, we definitely encourage employees to submit their receipts electronically through the e-travel system so that it can be retained there for the period of time and it satisfies the requirements. Employees would need to file an expense report using the agency's e-travel system. They would complete the expense report, send it to their supervisor for approval. The supervisor can either approve or reject the expense report. If corrections are needed, they would reject it, and then the employee would make any needed corrections, send it back to the supervisor, and the supervisor would approve it for payment. So after your supervisor approves your expense report, that approved expense report lands in OCFO's queue. Once in our queue, we actually will process approved expense reports for payment twice per week. Yes, all expense reports are subject to audit. At the end of each month, OCFO randomly selects expense report to audit. If your expense report is selected for audit, you would be notified by email and you'll have 14 days to respond. However, if you already submitted your original receipts in the e-travel system when you submitted your expense report, you can simply let the auditor know that the receipts are in the system and there would not be any additional action needed for you.
For additional information on the agency's travel policies, please refer to Article 14 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement or the Non-Bargaining Unit Travel Manual as applicable.